Hello and welcome everyone to our Saturdays with Tara Hangout on Air. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club, and we're on the web at theloaclub.com. On these hangouts, we collaborate with our friends Tara. This hangout is the summary of our theme for the week and continues on our member conference line. Today's topic is Chapter 9 from our upcoming book, Life on Earth, the User Manual. And the topic is questions and answers. How to make a hope into a belief and then into a certainty. How do I make a hope into a belief and then into a certainty? And is this the same thing as getting into alignment with what I want? You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer periodically, and our powerful free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. So now we're going to welcome Robin and Tara.
Question. How do I make a hope into a belief and then into a certainty? And is this the same thing as getting into alignment with what I want? From Abraham. Focus yourself so predominantly on the things that are working that they just crowd out any image of the things that aren't working, just by lack of airtime. You are the broadcaster of your vibration. And if you're broadcasting about things you appreciate, you cannot in that same moment be broadcasting about things that you're worried about. It really is about you tipping the balance of the scale by being clear about what you want to think about. Let's look at this from two perspectives. Firstly, there's the advice Abraham is giving you to develop the habit of being more and more aware of what you're focusing on and moving the predominance of that focus away from things that are not wanted and onto the things that you do want. What you choose to focus on and believe in becomes your reality. What you believe becomes. The mechanism is extraordinarily simple, but old habits can be stubborn. And as you follow your desires and seek to create a new story for yourself, it really helps if you're confident that you know what you're doing. And so for those of you who would like to know more about why it is and how it is that changing the way you think about things can so powerfully change anything and everything in your world, this question invites us to explore with you the nuts and bolts of who you are at a deeper level. We've described you at your essence as being a consciousness, an always connected extension of the collective consciousness of Source. And there are components to that consciousness. There's the conscious thinking you. There's what we loosely call your subconscious. And there's what we'll call your superconscious. It's worth remembering that when we use these words, we're using finite language to describe infinite things. And so they will always be approximations, because there really are no boundaries and discrete components in the spectrum that is you. You're a thought flow, a swirling energy flow. But it is useful, nevertheless, to think of yourself in these terms. Think of them as concepts that describe the true nature of the total you. And so we say, don't take us too literally, but do take us seriously. The concepts are valid. Let's start with the conscious thinking entity you tend to think of as making all your decisions. It has limited processing capability. You can focus on only one thing at a time. It pays attention when your subconscious says it should. Occasionally, it overrides the subconscious. It does make some decisions because it's the ultimate decision maker. If there's a new choice to be made, it's the part of you that makes it. It's the entity that's engaged with us here because you're reading and making judgments about what to believe. And there's the potential that new decisions will be made. Then there's your subconscious. It's enormously more powerful than the conscious you. It learned everything it knows from watching you. It's the part of you that actually makes all of your decisions, almost all of your decisions, because it makes all the status quo decisions. It walks you, it talks you, it drives your car. It takes in the relentless stream of data coming in through your senses and discards most of it. It reacts to what you think is important, to what it thinks is important, and occasionally says, pay attention and handle this particular thing. It allows you to function mostly automatically in a complex world without overwhelming the conscious you. Then there's the superconscious you. It knows who you are as a space-time entity. And it's that knowing that maintains the virtual reality you think of as your world. It knows the very shape of those conscious and subconscious components we just described. That shape is not who you are, timelessly across all realms. It's the shape you've adopted to play this particular game of life on Earth. Then beyond that, there's the most fundamental part of you. You could call it the super-conscious you. It knows you beyond time and space. It is part of the collective that is us. It carries the awareness of your connection back to Source. None of this structure is permanent. You're always at choice. Consider what you call death. You can't actually die because you're timeless. Death is simply you choosing to open up your awareness. It's you choosing a new shape for your consciousness. It's you changing the program that projects your virtual reality as you head off to your next adventure, or closing the holodeck and merging back into our realm. Time, of course, only exists as an artifact of your current program. So you'll actually be doing all of those things. And since the shape of your consciousness has changed, you'll be able to comprehend all of that. You'll recognize your new reality as more real than the dream you just woke up from. The decision to die is simply you making a very big change. The decision to get a good parking spot in front of the restaurant tonight is you making a small change. But are you beginning to get a sense that the mechanism of making that change is the same? You consciously make a new belief choice about something. And if and when you've lined up all those parts of you with that new choice, so-called reality changes. It must, because it's your beliefs about it that create it. So let's come back to your questions. How do you make a hope into a belief and then into a certainty? And is this the same thing as getting into alignment with what you want? Let's start with that second question. Yes, these are the same things. Where you are on the hope to belief to certainty scale is a direct correlation of how aligned you are at all levels of your consciousness. You can't get that good parking space if you second guess yourself by subconsciously believing that you have to deal with an external world and it's all about luck, and who knows if you're going to be lucky tonight. So let's think about what you know. These are the things about which you have no doubts at all. In fact, when you think about knowing something, even the concept of doubt seems irrelevant. These are the facts of life. When you woke up this morning, you re-entered a virtual reality comprised of all the things you know. There was time and gravity. There was a bed and a floor and walls to the room. The sun rose in the east and birds were on the wing outside. This fantastic world of yours is the sum of all the things you've accepted as fact. And you know them consciously, subconsciously, and superconsciously. So what do you believe? These are the things which feel like they are not quite certainties. Perhaps you believe in the law of attraction. Perhaps you believe that today the weather is going to be warm and you're going to have a good day with some friends. What do you hope for? Perhaps you hope that you're an abundant person and the universe will provide for you. Perhaps you're hoping for that good parking space at the restaurant tonight. Does the sun rise in the east? If it does, that's because, and only because, you know it will. And that means you made a choice about that and practiced it into a certainty. You could choose differently, but that's probably not high on your wish list right now. Will you grow old and die? Yes, you will if you know you will. And that means you made a choice about the way life on earth works and practiced it into a certainty. You could choose differently, but that may not be high on your wish list right now. Can you defy gravity and fly? If the answer is no, it's because you made a belief choice about that and practice it into the whole story you have about gravity. You could choose differently, and maybe that's something you'd like to do when you get more expert at overriding your reality awareness. Can you develop an ongoing awareness of the whole of you? Can you get to an ever-present sense of your attachment to Source? Yes, you can if you choose to believe you can, and practice that awareness into all levels of your consciousness. You too can be a master of conscious creation and step into a world of peace and power and fun and freedom. Can you create that good parking space tonight? Yes, you can if you will let yourself believe you can. If you are just starting out on this journey of discovery, You can let it start as hope. But here's the key. Make sure you feel good about it. Have fun with it. Watch yourself as you experiment. If you don't succeed, once again, be easy about it. Notice where you're allowing it to sit on the hope to belief to certainty scale. Notice when reality awareness is holding you back. So think about something in your life you want to change. Where does it sit on the hope to belief to certainty scale? Get a feel for that. Now think about why it sits there. If it's less than certain, why is it so? Is it because you have a strong case of what is-itis? Are you feeling there's an impeding sense of reality awareness that doesn't yet allow you to move it into the certainty bucket? Just become aware of what you're allowing yourself to believe. And then, in the light of everything we've discussed here in this chapter, let yourself become aware of the bigger you. Turning a hope into a belief and then into a certainty starts with the recognition that reality awareness is just a well-practiced habit of thought. And you can override that by remembering who you are and promoting within yourself the idea that you're the boss. And now you're making a new choice. So get with the program. It may take a little practice. It may take a little time. It does take focus. It does require you to think about what's going on in your belief systems and taking a stand with yourself. Always remember that so-called reality is not something external to you. It's a virtual reality you create from within. So to sum up the true facts of life, you're not a human being. You're a multi-level consciousness playing at being a human being. You make all your new decisions at the conscious level, and new choices are yours to make at any time about absolutely anything you want to change. The deeper and higher levels of you are simply there to support you on your adventure. If you will allow yourself to become more and more aware of what you've set up for yourself at all levels, then you will become a master of conscious creation. Then you can play the same game from a different perspective, or choose another game entirely. And actually, in different versions of you, you're doing all those things right now. Change begins when you focus your thoughts towards that which feels good. When you leave no room for those negative thoughts, they fade and die. You are the programmer of this virtual reality of yours. The things you think about become segments in your program. If you're thinking about things you appreciate, you cannot in that same moment be practicing thoughts about things to worry about. What you choose to focus on and believe in becomes your reality. What you believe becomes.
This Hangout on Air was the summary of our theme for the week. We do 3 live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can become a member by going to the loaclub.com/join. Our longer discussion with Q&A continues now on our member conference line. So back over to Robin and Tara.